Hello, today we're working on 10.5 day 1, surface area of cylinders. Your essential question says just that, how do you find the surface area of a cylinder? We're going to talk about what a cylinder is first. It's a prism with circular bases. That means that we have a circular base on the bottom, down here. We also have a circular base on the top. Now this diagram could be useful to you. It tells you all the important things. The first is your height. They have it in the center of your shape. It could also be on the edge here. And then the last thing is your radius. Again, that is the distance from the middle of your circle to the edge. We're going to start by finding the lateral area of your cylinder. For this one, the lateral area equals 2 pi r, which is the circumference of your circle of your base, times height. Again, r is your radius, which is this length down here, and h is your height. We're going to go ahead and use that to find our lateral area for the first one. So we're going to do LA equals 2 pi r times h. Again, my radius, it says the whole thing is 16. Notice it has a line all the way across. So this is actually my diameter. Remember, your radius is your diameter divided by 2. So I'm going to do 16 divided by 2 to get 8, and that is what we're going to use for our radius. Our height is already given to us, so h is 9. So if we plug this in, we have 2 pi times our radius, which was 8, times our height, which is 9. And we're going to go ahead and start by multiplying all those numbers together. So I'm going to do 2 times 8 times 9, and I get 144 pi. Now, hopefully we've already talked about leaving things in terms of pi. If it asks you to have it in terms of pi, this would be your answer. Don't forget your units. It's going to be feet squared. If it wants you to round to a decimal place, maybe it's the first decimal, maybe it's, I don't know, the second, you're going to type into your calculator 144 times pi. You can either use the pi button or remember pi equals 3.14. That number keeps going, but that's enough for you to use. So my final answer, rounded, would be 452 point, let's go one decimal place. I have 3/8, so I'll call it 0.4 feet squared. And that is your lateral area of your cylinder. The next thing we're going to do is surface area of a cylinder. Now, like all the other shapes we've talked about, to find your surface area, you're going to start out with your lateral area. So surface area equals lateral area, and then you need 2 times the area of your base. This is the same formula you would have used for prisms. The only thing that's nice about this is all of our bases for cylinders are going to be circles. So we actually have an equation for B. So my formula is going to be lateral area plus, equals 2 pi r squared. Again, this pi r squared is the area of my base. That's what B represents here. And we're multiplying it by 2 because we have a base on the bottom and we have a base on the top. Again, the good news for surface area is we already did half the work on the last slide. I'm going to leave my answer in terms of pi, and then we'll round them all together. So I said in the last slide my area was 144 pi for lateral area. Let me write my formula first, and then we'll do it. Lateral area plus 2 pi r squared. So we have 144 pi for lateral area, and then we're going to do plus 2 pi. Again, we did this on the last slide. They told us our diameter was 16, so if I divide that by 2, I get 8 for my radius, so times 8 squared. Again, we have 144 pi. I'm going to keep it in terms of pi for now, and let's do the other one. If I square 8, I get 64. So I have 64 times 2, which is 128 pi, so plus 128 pi. Again, if I want to put this together, I'm just going to add those numbers in front of pi. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. So I'm really adding 144 plus 128, and when I do that, I get 272. So we would say equals 272 pi. Again, we're still talking area, so my units would be feet squared. And if I want that in terms of pi, we're going to multiply by pi again, and I get 854.5 feet squared. Again, either of these two answers can be your answers. The first one is in terms of pi. The second one is rounded. All right, we're going to do one more example. We are going to start out by finding our lateral area. Remember, lateral area equals 2 pi r h. This time they give me my radius, which is 5. They give me my height, which is 10. So we're really doing 2 pi times 5 times 10. Again, I'm going to multiply all my numbers together, so I'm doing 2 times 5 times 10, and I get 100. So we have 100 pi. Oops. Again, for lateral area, my units are centimeters, and since it's area, we're going to square it. So we're going to say 100 pi centimeters. For this one, I'm just going to leave it in terms of pi. We need to also find our surface area. Remember, your surface area equals your lateral area plus 2 pi r squared. We already found our lateral area, so we have 100 pi plus 2 pi times 5 squared. If I square 5, I get 25. If I multiply it by 2, I get 50. So I really have 100 pi plus 50 pi, which would give me 150 pi. Again, we're talking area, so my units need to be squared, so it's going to be centimeters squared. So 150 pi centimeters squared is your final answer. All right, as always, thank you for watching. You can go ahead and answer your questions about the video and then move on to your homework.